You're wrong, Coraline. They aren't there. Now, you're gonna stay with us forever.
I've eaten so much paint. So much paint. That's got to be totally healthy for you. This look took me about an hour and 20 minutes. We've been filming, exactly an hour and 20 minutes and 15 seconds. I will list down below all of the products used in this look. If you would like to see how to do the creepy Coraline other mother look, then go ahead and keep on watching.
Starting off, I'm going to be covering my face and most of my chest area in Beldam MagiCake Aqua paint in the color Cloud White. This is just going to be the background area for all the bone designs. Next, I'm taking a lid from one of my makeup bottles, and I'm just using it with some eyeshadow on it to kind of just block in the top and the bottom area of where I want the eye to be so I can make them about the same size. Then I'm just taking a really fine brush and I'm using that same eyeshadow, which is just kind of a mauve color, and trying to really just kind of block out the outside edges of where I want those button eyes to be. Now, the more even you make it, the better it will be, but obviously can only be so perfect, but that's why we're starting with that lighter powder color. Then I'm going to take that same color and I'm going to start sculpting out my cheek areas and defining the areas of the face of where I'm going to be adding shadows and sculpting. Now, using that same color, I'm going to be switching back and forth between larger, fluffier brushes and smaller detail brushes for areas that I want those softer details to be, to help add more depth and shadowing. I'm also going to be taking those same brushes and that same eyeshadow to start blocking out shapes down on my neck and my chest for future areas of where there's going to be those bones and skeletal structures. It really helps to have photos and images from the movie of kind of the effect that you're wanting to do, so having those handy can actually make a huge difference and make your job a lot easier. Once I'm happy with the areas where I've blocked in those general shapes, I take a sharper edged brush and I start to go in with a black eyeshadow. This is going to help deepen into those darker recessed areas, and it really helps to take a cleaner brush and kind of buff in little circles over those edges where you want to really soften it to transition to any areas that you're going to be making solid black to try to disappear. You're still going to have those nice sharp edges with the black paint, but this really helps give a nice transition between the two tones. Once I've darkened up some of those general areas, I take a moment to pause and I start working with my Beldam MagiCake Aqua color paint, which is water activated in the color Licorice Black. I'm using this to go ahead and block out all the areas that I know I'm going to want to be solid black. When you pause in the middle of doing all that shadowing to go ahead and fill in those areas, it helps you see exactly where you're going to want to transition those shapes to start adding more of that black eyeshadow color later down the road. This is going to create a better shadowing effect and a more detail effect for your final result. It also really helps to kind of make your job a little bit easier in the long run, since it's kind of helping to clean up those edges, and since you'll have a defining edge to work with, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and blend those colors more easily into those darker areas that you want them to transition into. Once I've defined all of those black areas, I'm going back in with a very dense brush and I'm using a very watered down version of the Beldam MagiCake Aqua Paint in that cloud white. I'm doing this as kind of a gray effect to define the edges of the outside of where her collar and her dress sleeves and everything will be. It helps to define it since everything is kind of disappearing into the background. It also helps to give an illusion of a different shape on your body since everything on hers is ridiculously angular and thinned down for that more bug-like and skeletal effect. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and start making that polka dot effect on the dress. To do this is actually pretty simple. It doesn't have to be perfect and clean, but a really easy way to make those little circles instead of having to paint each and every single one in a circular shape is if you just take that Beldam MagiCake Aqua Paint in that cloud white, if you get it nice and wet and then still kind of keep it on the thicker side, go ahead and use just the back of your brush and then you can just kind of dot them on. Again, they don't have to be perfect since it's kind of going to just disappear into the effect anyways, but as long as you kind of fill in all those spots, you're going to get that same polka dot dress effect. Obviously, you could do this wearing an actual costume, but I decided for this transformation to just stick with paints. Now, if you water down the Beldam MagiCake Aqua Paint in the Licorice Black to be like an ink consistency, this part will be a whole lot easier. Just use an ultrafine brush and start painting in the brows. You're going to want to give them more of an angry effect. Mine turns out a little bit more sad looking because I tried to go over my actual brow area since I didn't take the time to glue down the few hairs that I actually have. Now, sticking with that same paint and brush, you're going to start making little cracks. Now, to do this, it really helps to be light-handed with this for any areas that you want the cracks to be ultra fine. And then if you press down a little bit harder on some of it during the transition of making a line, it'll give kind of like bigger space illusions because you'll have thicker areas in the paint as well. You don't want them all to be ultra fine, and you don't want them all to be super thick. You want it to kind of look like there's breaking points and crackles out from it. Now don't forget to fill in her signature mole, and then we're going to go ahead and move on and fill in both of those black button areas nice and solid black. Don't forget to fill in the lips as well. Here I'm going to be filling them in. I'm going to make kind of a creepier shape, and I will be doing the jokering effect by extending my upper lip outwards because you kind of want that creepy, really wide mouth. Now the thing is, I used the paint here, and if you saw in the intro, what ended up happening is every time I smiled to try to create kind of a creepy effect, because you know we like to have fun in these videos, I was getting black paint all over my teeth because this black paint is water activated. So I definitely recommend if you're going to be wearing this long term or out at a convention or a party, definitely use a lipstick. Now going back in with another fine brush and that white color just very watered down and ink-like, I'm going to go ahead and create little lines for some highlight effects of where I think the light would be hitting the edge of the button. You're going to want to stay away from the actual edge of the black because this is going to create a 3D effect of there being a rim around the outer edge of the button. And then I'm going to use the back of that same brush to do that polka dot effect, but this time for the holes of the button. For me, it's easiest to do kind of an up, down, and side to side effect. It's easier for me to be able to line up that top and bottom buttonhole, and you're definitely going to want to keep sitting back and looking at the look with your eyes closed and open to make sure that they're definitely lined up since human eyes are actually 3D. And don't forget to add the highlight for the strings of them actually being sewn together. Going back with that mauve color and some black eyeshadow, I'm going to start deepening in those areas on the edges of everywhere that I filled in solid black to kind of give a deeper effect and more of a 3D effect. It also makes the face a lot more narrow and angular, makes it a lot creepier. After adding a wig, I suddenly realized I never filled in the actual black areas between the ribcage, so I went back really quickly and did that. Obviously, you can be smart and do that while you're filling everything else in, or you can be stupid like I was and wait until the end. And here's that final result of the final transition of the other mother to full-on Beldam. Thank you so much as always for watching. I know that you really don't have to, so I always appreciate it when you guys do. And if you are excited to see the other characters from Coraline as much as I am excited to do them, go ahead and make sure that you like and subscribe, and go ahead and hit that notification button so that you get alerted as soon as those other videos are uploaded. Sweet dreams.